All right. Good morning, everybody, and happy Tuesday. I'm going to see if I can get us rolling pretty quick. We've had a busy morning already here in the Appalachian Mountains in Kentucky. The bears were moving through our area last night, and while they didn't get our garbage, they got some of our neighbors' garbage. So I was out there early this morning down the road with a rake trying to help a neighbor get all of their garbage out of the road and back into their can again before the garbage people come through this morning. And Susie's been busy refilling the hummingbird feeders. Um, does anyone know what you call a large group of hummingbirds? Susie and I know because we had to look it up. They're called a charm, CHARM. And Susie has about 3, 4, 5, 6, I don't know how many charms right now that are frequenting her feeding spots. And she has to refill them sometimes twice a day. That's a lot of sugar water. These hummingbirds are incredibly hungry. They showed up later this year, but boy, oh boy, are they here in force now. You got to kind of watch when you walk in and out of the house because it's kind of like JFK Airport at the busiest times with planes landing and planes taking off. And recently we had another special visitor on one of the hummingbird feeders, and I shot a video of it and took some pictures of it and shared it with Susie so she could go to her master naturalist group, and she discovered some interesting information. I'll let her share that with you on what the critter was hanging out by the hummingbird feeders and what some of her master naturalist friends told us about that critter. Yeah, surprising stuff. Who knew? I didn't know. Susie didn't know. And now all of a sudden we've got a new insight as to, aha, you're not here for any good. So, but it's great to have all of you here this morning. It's great to have this machine in front of us. And we've never seen this specific model before. We certainly have heard of this manufacturer before, Husqvarna Viking. That they've got roots going back to the 1600s as a Swedish Royal Arms factory. Right around 1689, they were founded as a Swedish arms factory, and then about 200 years later, they started making sewing machines right around 1872. Now, I will let you know, I always like to be honest to the audience. So this machine is branded Husqvarna Viking. You can kind of see it right there. But this machine was not made in Sweden. It was the concept, the engineering, and the design has ties back to Sweden, according to the way it's branded right down here by the ruler. It says designed and engineered in Sweden. But if you look at the nomenclature plate, which is tucked away on the bottom of the machine, this machine actually came out of the great country of, where do you think? Where was this machine actually made? The Swedes want you to think Sweden, but it wasn't made in Sweden. Where was this machine made? What do you think? And also, I'll throw out another question I oftentimes throw out to all of you. What size motor does this so-called Swedish beauty have? What size motor? And I say so-called not to be berating, but just to say, it's kind of like some of the other manufacturers saying nothing's changed here. It's the same Swedish beauty that it's always been. Well, I don't know. I went through this machine as I showed the customer. I had to literally split this machine in half like an egg and go in there to service all the critical parts of this machine. And it's got some good engineering. It's got some good quality built into it, but it's not a traditional Swedish beauty. So, yeah, I'll look at the live chat, see if anyone guesses right on the motor size and where was this machine made. Yeah. And I'll put on a little bit more music so I can get a sip of tea here and then get us rolling down the road. And I don't know if any of you, I don't watch a lot of news. I don't watch a lot of news at all, really. Susie and I don't have a news channel that we're dedicated to. We'll pick up little bits and pieces of news on social media. We'll pick it up on something that pops up on Facebook and other things like that. But I know that Canada and the United States are kind of in still of a feud. They got a little bit of a feud going on, kind of like the Hatfields and the McCoys down here in the South. Canada is saying nasty things about the U.S. U.S. is saying nasty things about Canada, and they're feuding about tariffs and blah, 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 blah. I love the Canadians. Y'all know that. I love the Canadians. We've got a member of our leadership team up in Canada. We've got a lot of customers that I've been able to service up in Canada as well. So I love the Canadians. I'm not even going to get into that feud, but I hope they figure it out. So in honor of our Canadian friends that are in a little bit of a tussle right now with the United States, particularly President Trump, I'm going to play the national anthem for Canada. And if anyone in the U.S. government is watching this channel, we have people from all the government agencies, believe it or not, that watch this channel, including the FBI. So I'm going to play the Canadian national anthem. If they get mad, oh, well, whatever. Here we go. Well, there you go. The Canadian national anthem to honor all of our friends that follow cow country, and certainly, the wonderful folks that are north of the United States. And I know a number of you have probably taken a trip to Canada before. Maybe like some of our new friends, Tim and Kim and Anthony and Sarah, that are going to be soon occupying one of the rental properties that Susie and I have in Middlesboro, Kentucky. They are from Buffalo, New York. They are racing around right now trying to get their moving trucks full so they can make a trip to Middlesboro, Kentucky from Buffalo, New York at the latter part of this week. And they're going to be in one of our large rental properties becoming Kentuckians. They said they're tired of New York. Now, I don't want to badmouth New York because we have a ton of people that follow us from New York as well, and that are friends of cow country from New York, but apparently they want to change. So if you're from New York, or you're watching this later as a video from New York, you can defend New York a little bit. Type some comments in there about New York rocks and all that sort of thing. But these folks are wanting a change, and we're delighted to welcome Tim and Kim and Anthony and Sarah to the great state of Kentucky, Southeast Kentucky, where, it's just a gorgeous place to live. We've got the mountains. We've got lakes in Tennessee right nearby. We got the Titans. Go Orange. Yeah, that's a saying down here, go Orange. You can Google it. It means something really cool. and I don't know that I'm going to explain it right, so I better not try. But at any rate, it's great to have more people discovering the wonder of Kentucky. We love Kentucky. I know Susie and I feel like we should have been here years ago. But at any rate, if you're in the live chat right now, welcome. I'm going to go through and say good morning to some folks. If you're in the shadows right now, looks like we've got almost 500 folks that have joined us on this busy Tuesday morning. Make sure you click like. It helps us out. It gives that live stream and video a little bit more visibility. So take a moment and click like if you'd be so kind. And I'm hoping that more will. Some people are still yawning and waking up if they're on the West Coast. Hopefully some more of those folks wake up and our audience continues to grow through the presentation of this wonderful machine that belongs to Sandy out of London, Kentucky. We just recently presented her featherweight that, she was a dirty little girl. She was frozen. She wouldn't turn. And so now Sandy is anxious and excited to get her other machine back, this model 690Q. Now, some of you threw some guesses out about the motor size. This is presented as a robust quilting machine. And so a quilting machine's got to have a little bit of extra power, get up and go. It surprisingly does not have a 1.2 amp motor. I think that was Tim's guess. And it's got a smaller motor than that. And it doesn't even have a full scale motor. In other words, it doesn't have a full-size traditional motor that you would expect. A lot of these manufacturers have found that they can cut their cost by going to a micro compressed size motor. The motor in this quilting machine is only about this big, and they supercharge it like a car so that it's able to deliver power. Now, the only thing about these micro motors that are supercharged is they tend to run hotter, they tend to run harder, and they don't tend to last quite as long. So I spent a lot of time servicing that little micro motor. I shared all those pictures with Sandy, and I hope eventually someone will help me get back to posting on Facebook. I haven't posted on Facebook for a really long time. And what I would love to do is post progress pictures, show all the things that I did to this Husqvarna Viking 690Q and a number of other machines that I presented to you recently. I still haven't posted those pictures. So if one of the leadership team members has a little bit of extra time and they want to help us out on Facebook too, God bless you. I would love to have that help. So let me do this. Let me go ahead and say some good mornings to the folks that are in the live chat. It looks like Miss Teresa from the great state of Wisconsin was the first one in the classroom today. She even beat Susie. So kudos to Teresa. Teresa got in the classroom first, and I think right on her heels, no doubt, although I don't see him in the live chat, was probably Tim. Teresa and Tim, we love them to death. And it sounds like they're still on a track to come to Kentucky. Teresa and Tim, part of the leadership team on Cow Country, they're still looking, when Tim retires in the next couple of years, they're still looking at trying to come to the great state of Kentucky. We would love that. We would love to have them nearby and be able to hang out with them and visit with them, every week, every day. That would be fantastic. Let's see. Susie came in right after Teresa into the classroom, and then Kathy King from, I'm just having a brain cramp today. Kathy, you're from Florida, aren't you, hon? I think you are. Kathy is from, I believe, Florida, down south. She's from the south too. And good morning to Tim. Let's see who else we have. In the live chat, that's it. We got a lot of people in the shadows right now, but we do not have a lot of people in the live chat. So yeah, when you're ready, step out and join the party. Join the pate in the live chat. We would love to have you there. So I'll throw on just a little bit more music as I gather together and get a couple of other things organized. And then we're going to check out this quilting machine. And of course, I'm going to measure. I can't measure the entire bed space because when Sandy brought this machine to me, she did not have the bed extension. It looks like there should be some sort of a bed extension on here. If there isn't, why didn't they give a bed extension? It's a quilting machine. They should have had some sort of a bed extension that would slide on here so that you'd have even more workspace. But if nothing else, we'll measure the harp space right in this area to see how big of a working space for turning materials and quilts we have on this quilting machine. Okay, so a little bit more music. I already played the quilting national anthem from Canada. And let's see what else I'll put on here. Oh, goodness. Give me a second here. How about a little bit of dance music? A little bit of dance music. There's always time to dance, right? All right, I'm going to stop the dance music here. We're going to get into this machine. I love it. Kathy King posted like a dancing emoji. Yeah. I mean, life can be tough sometimes. I mean, think about our neighbors up here in the Appalachian Mountains that had to step outside today to garbage all over their yard, all over the road, and they had to get out there and clean it up. Maybe they were trying to get out the door and go to work. But you know what? Even amid the troubles we have in life, we can dig deep and find that joy. That's really what those of us that share that kindred faith, that's really what life is all about, is in spite of the troubles, we dig deep and we find that joy. Am I right or wrong? Yeah, we find that joy. And we've got the joy today of checking out this machine that belongs to Sandy out of London, Kentucky. So I'll just walk you around this machine a little bit, tell you a little bit more about it. And I know I haven't told you the size of the motor yet. I'm going to go ahead. Hold on a second. I'm going to go ahead and text that motor size to one of the leadership team members so they can post it. Give me a second here. If I can get this silly phone to operate and to work, see if I can find, I think I'll send it to Teresa. See if I can find Teresa's number here. I haven't texted Teresa for a while, so there she is. There we go. So I'm going to send Teresa 2 bits of information. I asked you about the motor size and asked you where this machine that they have branded right down here, designed and engineered in Sweden, but we know that it wasn't built in Sweden. Where was it made? I'll send that to Teresa, and then she can share it through the live chat with everybody. My screen is cracked right now, so it's harder for me to type. I can't see anything. Okay, I just sent that info to Teresa. So once she gets it, she can go ahead and post that in the live chat. That way you'll know where this machine was actually made. And I'm not bad-mouthing where it was made. I'm just saying it wasn't made in Sweden. And the motor is probably a little bit smaller than you would expect. Yeah. Okay. So let me do this. Closing my phone out. Okay. So I'll walk you around this machine a little bit, kind of give you the lay of land. I also want you to, if you've got something to write with, like a piece of paper and a pencil or a pen or something like that, get ready to do a little bit of writing, because I'm gonna scroll past the huge array of stitches that this 690Q can do, and I want you to be able to get involved and to pick some of these stitches in this live stream. So you'll be able to pick the stitches and the materials we're going to be sewing on today. We've got 100% cotton. We've got some vintage velvet. We've got some denim, and we've got even a little piece of leather. So we'll be doing most of the sewing on cotton, because this machine is a quilting machine. It's not a heavy-duty leather sewing machine. But I'll do at least one off. I'll do one off of some genuine cowhide, just to show that the machine can do leather sewing on a very limited basis, a very, very limited basis. So let me see if I can grab the camera, and I'll walk you around this machine real quick. First of all, I'll close the hood. I'll close the hood of the machine. And you can see, again, it's proudly branded with that Husqvarna Viking branding mark. Again, a company that goes all the way back to the 1600 as a Royal Arms plant, but they started making sewing machines about 20 some years after Singer in 1872. So that's a real powerful branding mark even today in the sewing space. And over here, we've got the model, which is referred to as a 690Q, but it's also called the Opal. And that has kind of a royal feeling to it as well, kind of that opal jewelry sort of thing going on. And it says exclusive sensor system. So there's going to be a lot of automatic features on this Swedish beauty quilting machine, sensing various things as we're sewing and trying to make those adjustments. But we've got some manual control over certain features of the machine as well, which is great. And then we here, which, yeah, you can become acquainted with this machine since Sandy gave it to me to service it. It's a little bit more complicated than I'm used to, but you can find your way pretty quick. You can find your way pretty quick. So let's see here. Hit that one. So now we're back to the main screen right here. It's automatically going to go to a center needle position straight stitch by default. And then you can make certain adjustments on here. You can adjust the stitch length, the stitch width on the bottom. You can do a mirror image if you're having certain patterns that are part of the sewing process. Now, if you go to that main screen, the easiest way that I found, at least, to choose the stitch that you want is to hit this upper button right here. It's at the very top of this touch screen. And you can certainly use this fancy little stylus that's tucked on the right side of the machine. I do that for some of the things, but I also use my finger as well. So when I hit this one, at this point, we have to choose which block of stitches we want to sew with. We've got block 1 that's highlighted right now. We've got block 2, we've got block 3, and finally block 4. Now that probably means nothing to you right now, but as soon as I open the hood on this machine, it'll make a little bit more sense. They've got these stitches broken out in these long rows, and then as you go through these long rows, you've got block 1, block 2, block 3, and block 4 all the way on the bottom. You can kind of see that. There's a little bit of a shadow from this LED light. I'm going to tilt the machine back a little bit, so hopefully we'll get a little bit better light on it. But there you can kind of see those different blocks of the stitches that this machine can do. And I'm going to kind of go across. As you're going across, look for this black band right in the middle that is bisecting blocks 1, 2, and 3, and 4. This little black band is going to give you the stitch number. It's going to give you the stitch number. So if we want to do, for example, I'll use this fancy stylus to point at, if we want to do this particular stitch right down here, see if I can't see if you're seeing that on the camera. Let me see here. It looks like it's better if I point it to the side. Maybe the light is blocking it or something. Anyway, if I want to do, say, for example, this first stitch right here in block 4, then I know that I have to go to block 4, and it's going to be stitch number 1. If I want to do this stitch, it's going to be in block 4, stitch number 2. If I want to do this stitch, looks like a couple of oranges stacked on top of each other. If I want to do this stitch, it's going to be in block 3, and it's going to be stitch number 1. And it's the same all the way across. You just look for that black band in the middle. That tells you the stitch number, and then you look and see where the stitch is that you want me to try to sew and what block it's in, either block 1, block 2, block 3, or block 4. And again, these are the stitch numbers. So stitch 1 all the way through 52. It looks like we have a total of 52 stitch options and then 4 different blocks. So 200 plus stitches, right? 200 plus stitches. So I'm going to do my best to try to move the camera from left to right, right to left, so you can identify that stitch, know what block it's in, know what stitch number it is, and then I'll try to sew that for you during this live stream, okay? So I'm going to adjust my camera a little bit. I'll try to give you a clear view of it. I hope I can. I'm going to slowly start from left to right. Again, this is your block number over here. This is your stitch number in that black band. So see if you can find that stitch that you really like, that you want to see me try to sew. I'm trying to get, there's like a shadow on here today. I don't know why there's a shadow, but there is. I'll try to go across real slow, and hopefully you can see some of that stuff. Let me adjust the machine just for a second. Let me adjust the machine. I'll turn it sideways. Maybe the light will hit it a little bit better that way. I think that might help us. See, as soon as I get the camera too close to that little hood, it kind of blocks out my light, doesn't it? Let me stop right there. You guys have good eyes. You have pretty good eyes. Let me see if I can. Oh, there we go. There we go. Now we got something going. So there you can see the block. See if you can find that stitch or those stitches that you really want to see sewn on this machine during this live stream. I'm going to do my best to give you a clear view. Got to kind of spread my feet here and walk this across. Got a little bit of a glare on there. It's kind of annoying. Maybe I can cup my hand over it. I'm going to cup my hand over there, see if that helps. That helps, doesn't it? I got my hand cupped over the top of the camera because the LED light is kind of glaring on it. And don't ask me to do a buttonhole, you silly squirrels. I'm not going to do a buttonhole. All right, let's go down one more time. And I might do this again. So pick a stitch or stitches from either block 1, 2, 3, or 4, and make sure you give the stitch number, which is in that black band, okay? So many cool stitches. So many cool stitches. Oh my goodness. Okay, I hope you're able to get a good glimpse of that. The secret was I had to cup my hand over the top of the machine because the LED light above it was just creating this awful, awful glare, awful glare. So while I have the machine turned sideways a little bit, I'll give you a little bit more of a walk, and then I'll orientate again. So over here, somebody's texting me. It's got to be Susan. I think that's Susan texting me. Hold on a second. Let me see who it is. Oh, okay. We've got people around the world in almost 130 countries that follow this channel, and to date, we've had almost 4 million views and visitors to this channel. And we are blessed today to have James Graham in the chat from Clydebank, Scotland. And we know that a lot of the wonderful machines like the Singer 222K and the list goes on were made over in that neck of the woods. So it's great to have James with us today. James, I'm glad that you stepped into the live chat and introduced yourself. I'm sure people are delighted to meet you. I hope you make some new friendships today. That's really what our channel is all about, is making new friendships with folks and sharing our passion of sewing machines, whether they're antique, whether they're vintage, or whether they're contemporary, like this Viking 690Q. So welcome, James. And Susie, thanks for letting me know. Great to have James with us today. Okay, so let me walk you around this machine, and then let's actually put this machine to work. Let's actually put this machine to work. All right, so the first thing I'll tell you is it takes a very, very unique bobbin. And I'm embarrassed to say I only have one bobbin for this machine. I only have one bobbin, the one that Sandy sent with the machine. Last week, I think it was on Monday, or maybe even a little bit earlier than that, when Sandy explained that she was having issues with this machine where it was jamming up in the raceway. The thread was not feeding off of the bobbin. I got suspect of the bobbin right away, and I ordered a pack of these Husqvarna Viking green bobbins. They've got a lot of lookalikes out there, But on this particular model, you want to go with the original Husqvarna Viking green bobbins. And they're available on eBay. They're available on Etsy. They're available on Pinterest. Just make sure it's the green bobbin that is associated with either this model, the Opal, or the Sapphire. The Sapphire model and the Opal take the same bobbin, but I'll give you a look of it so you kind of know what it looks like at least. And we're probably going to have to refill the bobbin during this live stream because I only have one, and I did a lot of sewing off camera, and it's pretty low. It's real low. So that's kind of what the bobbin looks like right there. It actually has a green tint to it. Don't go with one of the clear ones. Their dimensions are a little bit different, and it's going to create problems for you. And as you drop this bobbin in, you're going to have the thread over the top so that it's turning counterclockwise. You can kind of see as I pull the thread, it's turning counterclockwise. So that's how you'll know you have the bobbin in correctly. And there will be a stamp on the green bobbin, an H for Husqvarna. You'll want to make sure that H is pointing up. Don't point it down. So the orientation of that H has to be facing up. Otherwise, the bobbin won't turn properly in the raceway. Okay? I'm going to put our little plate back on. And if you want to clean the lint out of this bobbin area, it's not horribly cumbersome, but you do have to get a small screwdriver and pop this plate up. There's a little flange of metal on either side that kind of hold it in place. And you've got to go ahead and pop this out and then pop this plate up to clean that lint out of that area. Here's our feed dog drop right here for free motion quilting, freehand embroidery. And there again, on this ruler that goes across the front, you'll see where they have it stamped, designed and engineered in Sweden. But we know now, I didn't see if Teresa already posted it, but I'm guessing she did. This machine was not made in Sweden. It was made in China. And it has a 0.8 amp motor. So it's got a fairly good sized motor on it for some heavier quilting type applications. Here we've got a number of different controls right in this area. We've got start, stop if you don't want to use the foot controller. We've got reverse. We've got presser foot up and down right here. We've got a button that says fix. And certain cases, you're going to be trying to adjust the stitch length or stitch width. And the Swedes engineer into the machine safeguards so that you're not setting yourself up for failure. And this light will come on and you have to hit the button so that it will readjust the stitch width and stitch length for a particular stitch you're wanting to do. So it's kind of a quick little fix if you've done something that's going to create problems in the stitch output. Over here, we've got thread cut. We've got needle up, needle down. And then we have a speed control right here. So we can set a governor for the top speed of the machine. And no matter how far we push the foot controller down, it's going to limit us to that. Okay. Let's see what else. Bobbin winder right here. We only have one bobbin, so we don't have a lot to wind. But we put our bobbin on here. There's specific little fins on here. So when you slide that bobbin in, you want to start to slide it down gently and then rotate it so it fits on there properly. Otherwise, it's not going to be in position. Here we've got our adjuster for how full the bobbin is. Just loosen that screw, rotate it in clockwise if you want to fill it less full, rotate it counterclockwise if you want to fill it more full, okay? Extra little spool pin here for feeding thread or for winding a bobbin, either one. What else? Horizontal feed. Yeah. The threading on this is pretty straightforward, but I'll just walk you through it in a virtual sense. So as you're beginning to thread this, you'll bring the thread up underneath. Actually, I'm mistaken. You'll actually drop the thread down from the top. You'll come in this little opening right here. You'll drop the thread down, and then you'll follow this track over here. You'll draw it through the presser feet. And as long as the presser foot is in the up position like it is right now, there's not going to be any pressure on those discs. So you don't need to worry about raising a presser foot lever. This machine doesn't have a presser foot lever, so you couldn't raise it anyway. But you draw it between those tension discs. Either side, there's a little divider right here. You can bring it on either side because it's got 3 discs for twin needle sewing. Then you come underneath here, bring it from right to left up this track, and then you'll take it through that take-up arm. You have to kind of have that take-up arm at the highest position and bring that thread way to the back and then draw it forward so it snaps into position. Come back down the same track. And then there's a little thread guide right here. Another thread guide right here above the needle. And then you're going to put the flat side of the needle to the rear. The flat side of the needle to the rear. And right now I have a Schmetz 9014 universal needle in there. We could certainly have gone with a size 8014 or an 8012 rather. That would be more popular in the quilting circles. But since we're going to be sewing a little bit of leather today, I decided that I wanted to go with a 9014. Okay. Let's see what else. On-off switch right here. Turning the machine on and off. Here's our, that's fun. I think we just brought it back to life. Here's our stylus right here when we want to do some touches on the screen instead of using our greasy fingers, right? What else? We'll learn more about this screen as we go. Well, let's say that someone had picked, a stitch in this quadrant of 4, and let's say it's stitch 17. Let's just say hypothetically it's quadrant 4 or whatever it is, group 4, and stitch 17 over there. So what we would do is we would hit this right here. We would pick quadrant 4 or group 4, and then we would punch in 17 and hit OK. And then it would give us this particular stitch. And then we can also program some of these stitches into a grouping. So we could hit program, and then we could add another stitch and another stitch. If we wanted to have, say, alternating stitches on a quilting edge, we could group them all together. Yeah. Okay. So let me rotate the machine back. I think I've shown you most of the stuff on the machine. We'll do a little bit of sewing on this machine. We'll start with that straight stitch. And then we'll kind of go from there. I love it makes like robotic sounds when you turn it on. It's kind of cool. And we are sewing with Coats & Clark Dual Duty XP thread. I didn't mention that, but you probably guessed that anyway. So let's start with a straight stitch. Let me get my material underneath. And we could certainly, we don't have a presser foot lever. So what I'm going to do to drop that presser foot is I'm going to hit my little button right over here. And then you'll see that presser foot drop down. Okay. Get our camera set up. We'll see if we can do our first stitch. See what angle I need. This faceplate area really sticks out really far on this machine. So it makes it a little bit more difficult to get a good camera angle so you can see the machine sewing, but I'll do my best. Okay, so we'll start with a straight stitch. And I'm going to go with a longer straight stitch. This will generate a straight stitch that's ridiculously long. I'm going to go a little bit shorter than the max. Let me see what I've got here. Yeah, that's the one I want. I'm going to bump up my stitch length. I should show you this while I'm doing it. I'm going to increase my stitch length. We could go all the way up to 6, You see right now we're at 6.0. We're going to go to 5 because that's also a real long straight stitch as well. All right. Hopefully I have everything set up correctly. Get that camera backed up a little bit. And we'll lay down a pretty ridiculously long straight stitch. We'll actually measure it to see how many stitches per inch we have. All right. So here we go. I will temporarily close the hood and we'll lay down our first stitch. I should probably move my material over just a little bit. Let me see if I can move my material over so I get closer to that edge. There we go. Okay, so our first stitch on this Husqvarna Viking Opal model 690Q. Let's see how we do. All right, here we go. And you can see right now it's set up so that that needle always ends in the up position. So I'm going to make that presser foot come up now. We'll go ahead and take a look at these monster straight stitches. And we could have gone bigger than this. We're set at 5 right now. We could have gone all the way to 6. All right, got that clipped. So this is our first stitch right here. You can kind of see that in the shot. Take my glasses off because otherwise it's blurry. Here's our first straight stitch right there. Formation, the spacing is absolutely bang on. It looks really good. And you can see it automatically will lock off that stitch on the end. You can see the lock off right there. Waiting for the camera to focus. There we go. Beautiful straight stitching. Lock stitching on the back. That also looks really good. And this is going to have an auto tensioner on it. We don't have any discretion really in adjusting the tension. We can adjust the presser foot pressure, but we're very limited within the settings on what we can change. They're wanting to, I guess, make it as hands-free as possible for the quilter, so they don't have to make as many decisions. But that's a huge straight stitch. Let me get my caliper. We'll see if we can do a quick measurement. Let's see here. We'll take that down a little bit. All right, 1 inch. So we're looking at about five stitches per inch, and we could even go larger than that. So we probably could get it almost to 4 stitches per inch. Those are fabulous. That's like hand quilting almost, isn't it? That's really close. 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5. So we're getting 5 stitches per inch right now in the current setting. 5 stitches per inch. We may be able to go all the way to, 4 stitches per inch if we wanted to. Okay, let me do this. Let me look at the live chat and see if anyone picked any stitches. I'll write them down, and we'll get those done first. And yeah, see if we can get this rocking and rolling. I'll put on just a little bit of music in a little bit. Let's see here. Okay, I hope I don't miss anybody. If I miss anybody, let me know that. If I miss anyone as far as the block stitch request. So it looks like Teresa wants, let me write these down. Hold on 1 second. It looks like Teresa wants block 4, stitch 10. So I'm going to say Teresa, block 4, stitch 10. And Kathy, block 4, stitch 23. Stitch 23. Oh, she said 25. Okay. So I'm changing 23 to 25. Let's see. I think those are the only requests that I see. Are there any others that I missed? Let's see. Bum, 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 bum. I don't see any other requests for specific stitches. So I only have 2 requests right now for stitches. So while I'm getting a quick sip of tea, I'll put on a little bit of interlude music. And if you need to see the stitches again, I can try to show you the stitches again. That way you can see if you want to pick one. Also, if you're in the live chat if you're in the live stream right now, what I meant to say, if you're in the live stream right now, it looks like we have about 1,500 or so people in the live stream, but we only have 317 likes. Take a moment, if you'd be so kind, and if you're part of the live stream right now, take a moment and click like if you would, and that way we can get a little bit better visibility so people can learn more about this model 690Q, this Husqvarna Viking Opal model, okay? So take a moment while I'm getting some tea and you're doing some dancing, because I'm going to put dance music on again. Go ahead and take a moment to click like. And also, before I launch into the next sew-off for Kathy and for Teresa, I'll show you those stitches again. I'll show you the block. I'll show you the stitch number all the way across. And any of you that didn't pick a stitch before, get your pencil and paper ready. You can write down some of your choices. Otherwise, I'll just pick some randomly to demonstrate the machine, okay? All right, I'm going to pause the music real quick. Okay, so let's see if I can show you the stitches one more time, and that way, if for some reason you stepped out of the room or you were distracted or you were making your cup of coffee or whatever it is, you'll have a chance to at least know what the stitches are, what block they're in, either block 1, 2, 3, or 4, and what stitch number you'd like to see sewn. Right now, we only have 2 requests from Teresa and Kathy King. And I know with an audience of this size, there's got to be some others that want to see one of these stitches laid down and just see how beautiful this machine sews, right? I'm guessing. Okay, so let's do this. Let's go over here and take a look at the stitches one more time. I'm going to cup my hand over the top to try to block out that glare that's on there. I'll do my best. Try to block out the glare once the camera decides to focus. There we go. So I'm going to go across. I'll go across and back, and that's it. So if no one else wants to see a stitch, then I'll go ahead and pick the stitches myself, and that's fine. So again, on the far left, you'll see 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the block number. And then in the center of the stitches, you'll see a black band with a number. That's the stitch number. So you'll want to give me the block number and the stitch number. Okay? So let me go across. I'm trying to go as slow as I can. I'm going to go back again now. So block 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the stitch number is all I need to know. I'll go down one more time. So pick the block 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the stitch number right in the center, black band. Okay, last time. And I can just catch a glimpse of my laptop screen. Thank you so much. All of you that just clicked like. Wow. Thank you. That's fabulous. Okay, my hand is getting tired. I'm getting tired holding that. All right, so hopefully if you didn't catch it the first time, this extra opportunity so you can get involved in the live stream. That's the whole purpose of a live stream, is that you're able to get involved. So any of you that are watching right now in the shadows, the 1,500 plus people, when you're ready, feel free to step into the live chat to introduce yourself, just as our friend from Scotland did. And now we know that we've got James with us, and we know a little bit about him, which is kind of exciting. And I'm sure there's hundreds, if not thousands more, that are in the shadows right now that would love to, step out and say, hey, I've got these sewing machines. This is the type of sewing I do. This is where I'm from. This is where my people are from, as we say down in the South. So it's great to have all of you here, whether you're in the shadows or whether you step out in the live stream and the live chat. We're very grateful to have you here. Know that. And when you decide you want to introduce yourself, you're going to be made feel like family. We're going to make you feel welcome and loved. Okay? So, all right, I'm going to look at the live chat one more time, see if there's any more requests as far as stitches, and then I'm going to put this machine to work. All right, let me put my glasses on so I read it right. So it looks like Tim is requesting block 2, stitch 5. Block 2, stitch 5. Okay, Tim, block 2, stitch 5. And Tim is so excited about this stitch, he actually typed it twice. I hope he doesn't want me to sew it twice because I'm not going to do that. I'm sorry, Tim. I love you, man, but I'm only going to sew it one time. And then Teresa typed block 4, stitch 30. Block 4, stitch 30. Let me type Teresa in there again. Block 4, stitch 30. And then we've got Susie, block 3, stitch 40. Let me get over there. Susie wants block 3, stitch 40. Okay. So there's a total of 5 stitches that I'm going to be sewing at request. And then I'm going to jump in and just do some more stitch selection on my own. I might show the stitches one more time, give you kind of an alibi so you can try to jump in if you stepped away or whatever. You goes, daggone it, I missed it again. He just showed the stitches again and I missed it. You'll have a chance to hopefully pick the stitch of your choice, because that's the fun of a live stream, is you get to get involved and pick. Oh, that looks like one of our properties going off. Okay, so I silenced that. So let's start. Teresa. Susie, double check that. It looks like we have somebody walking the property over in Middlesboro. It might be Shane. It might be Shane walking the property going up there to work, but just double check otherwise if you would. We do have folks that will kind of wander onto the property sometimes, so we keep a close eye using our Ring cameras. And I know some of you probably have Ring cameras on your property as well. It's such a blessing to have them, because we're all the way out in the mountains here in north of Middlesboro, and it takes us probably 20 minutes to get into town. So we can right away talk to somebody on the camera. Hey, what are you doing there? What do you need? That sort of thing. And Susie's probably taking care of that right now. So, all right. And somebody's in the property now, which tells me it probably is Shane. Haha, it is Shane, I'm sure. Susie can double check that. Okay, I'm not going to worry about it. Susie's on it. She's got it covered. And I'm going to go ahead and do Teresa's first stitch, which is in block 4, stitch number 10. Block 4, stitch number 10. Let me just get my material straight. All right, got that presser foot down. Okay, yeah, Susie just sent me a text. There's a good friend of ours that helps me out doing different things sometimes. I better snooze that or it's going to keep going off. He helps us do things at the properties. I won't call him a handyman because he's actually a very skilled carpenter, and but he's a great blessing to us. So he's over there at the property that our friends from Buffalo, New York, are going to be occupying permanently starting on Friday, and he's doing some more painting and cleanup and stuff like that. So that's really cool. All right. So thanks for double checking that, Susie. I'm going to go ahead and focus on this. And now we need to program in Teresa's stitch, right? So we got to go over to our little screen, and we need to go to block 4. So I'm going to show you the screen there. There it is. So I choose block 4. And again, I hit the upper right one to get this screen. Okay. If I hit it again, then we'll go back to the stitch that we currently have. So I'm hitting this one right here. I'm going to select block 4, and then Teresa wanted stitch number 10. So I punch in 1, 0, okay. And it's going to be this really cool, I don't even know what I'd call that, but it's really a cool stitch. Okay. So that's the one we're going to be trying to sew right now for Teresa, and then we'll do the other stitches that were requested as well. Let me angle that down just a little bit more. There we go. That's not a horrible shot. But again, the faceplate left end of the machine sticks out so far on this model. It's just tough to get a camera shot. It really is. Now, right now, I'll just show you our little light, our fixed light came on. And I didn't change the stitch width or the stitch length. I'm not sure exactly why it came on, but I'm going to go ahead and push it, see if the light goes out. And it did. It doesn't look like it changed anything over here, really. And now we'll try sewing it. Like I said, I don't have a lot of experience other than spending the time with this machine in the workshop, servicing it, testing it, getting it ready for this live stream. And I don't have a book for this machine either. So without a book, I'm not sure why does the fixed light come on sometimes if you haven't adjusted any of the stitch width or stitch length. Maybe somebody can Google that and type the answer in the live chat. I always say it, sometimes a teacher, always a student. So this will be your opportunity to give us maybe more insight into that fix button on the Husqvarna Viking Opal model 690Q. Yeah. Well, we made the light go out. That's all that matters. All right. I got another sip of tea. Now let's try Teresa's stitch. This looks like a really cool one. Okay. And I'm going to regulate my speed. It may be a tri-motion stitch, which means the material might be getting manipulated forward and back. So I'm not going to go super, super fast. All right, here we go. Yep, it is tri-motion. Kind of keeping an eye on our bobbin. Our bobbin is getting real low. All right, I'm going to stop right there. And I don't know if this model has the end pattern like I've shown you on some of those other contemporary quilting machines. I'm not sure if it has an end pattern or not. But if it does have an end pattern, I haven't found it yet. So if it has it, I don't want to say it doesn't have it, but I haven't found the end pattern yet. And the end pattern would be, again, as we're getting near the end of the material, we can hit that button and then it will finish off that pattern and it won't start sewing the other one. You know, we're basically telling it we don't have any more room. Finish this pattern and then stop. And I haven't found it on this machine yet, but it doesn't mean it doesn't have it. I just haven't found it. So let me give us a clip. We'll take a look at Teresa's stitch selection, which I think was really a great choice. Really has kind of a, you know, we talk about this, the Husqvarna Viking sewing machine company having royal roots, right? It was founded by King Gustavus Adolphus with a royal decree. And they started making the sewing machines in 1872. So it has royal roots. A king is behind the founding of this company, right? And this has kind of a royal look to it, the one that Teresa picked. Let me show it to you up close. Really quite a spectacular stitch. Wow. Wow. What a great pick, Teresa. What a great pick. Wow. Oh, and imagine if we used an embroidery needle, right? If we used an embroidery needle, it would even be more pronounced. Wow. Now here's the big deal. Sandy, the owner's concern was, On the back of the material, I'm having issues. I'm having issues with the bobbin. I'm having issues with the thread. How do we do on the lock stitch? Let's turn over and look at the lock stitch. Aha! That looks really good. That's a beautiful stitch. Let's take a closer look. And again, I don't have control over adjusting tension on this machine. I'll show you the settings screen, and we can scroll through using the stylus so you can see what we do have control over. But with the auto sensors built into this machine, there's certain things we don't have any control over. Isn't that a gorgeous stitch? Teresa, you got good taste. You got good taste, girl. Yeah, you do. Wow. That's our lock stitching. And here's our top stitching again. Wow. Let's do the next stitch. Let's do the next stitch now. All right, let me get this into position. Wait a second, I got this upside down there. I always say it, when the stitching is so gorgeous, it's hard to tell the lock stitching from the top stitching, right? It's hard to tell the lock stitching from the top stitching. I think this is our top stitch now. I'm going to set that in place. Get our presser foot down. Yeah, it is. All right, our presser foot is down. I hope I don't sew over Teresa's stitch or I'm going to be in trouble. So the next one was by Kathy King. And Kathy King had picked also block 4, but stitch 25, I believe. I hope that's right. Or was it stitch 30? What, Kathy, clarify. What did you pick? Did you pick stitch 25 or 30? I think you changed. 25. It looks like 25 is what I wrote. Block 4, stitch 25. Let me know if I'm wrong, okay? And I'll sew another one. I'll sew a different one. Sew another one. Okay, so we're already in block 4. Let's go back to our settings screen. This is our settings screen right here where we can make our choices. And now Kathy King wants stitch 25, I believe. So all we have to do is punch in 25. And then we're going to get this really cool one here. And our fix light is on again. I don't know why. I wish I did. But I'm going to push fix it. So this is one Kathy picked, I believe. Block 4, stitch 25. We're going to do this one next. And I'm going to check the live chat just to see if I got it wrong. But I think that's the one that Kathy wanted to see. And I will say that a machine like this is not designed to make it easy to service it. You've got to have special tools. You've got to have a special star screwdriver to open up the machine and to split it open like I talked about. It basically, I'll just show you from the top down. There's about 10 screws across the back and underneath here as well. And then this opens, where is it? This opens up, the handle comes off, this comes off, and then you basically take the entire back of the machine off, but it's a cumbersome process. And whenever you have machines that have a plastic casing, there's little tabs that are holding it together, and it's easy to break them off. And if you break them off, the case is not going to go back together properly. So if you decide to try to do some DIY on this particular model, be real careful because it's easy to break something, and then the machine casing won't go back together properly. Okay? Be real careful. All right. So we have this next stitch that Kathy King picked, and I don't see Kathy popping up in the live chat, so I must have gotten it right. I think I got it right. Otherwise, she had to step away for a little bit. So we're going to do this stitch regardless. This, again, is going to be block 4, stitch 25. Okay, let's get this one a go. All right. And listen to this machine operate. Yes, it was made in China, but it was engineered well by Husqvarna Viking. They gave them the blueprint and said, make it this way. And that's how they made it in China. So it's still a great machine, even though it didn't actually come from Sweden. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Here, let's do this next stitch. Here we go. I'm going to actually take you down to the needle so you can see it operating, okay? And I'm keeping the speed down because you can see it's generating a very complex pattern, and it's using a lot of aggressive tri-motion, manipulating the material with those feed dogs back and forth and back and forth very, very rapidly. So we don't want to rush it through that process. All right, I'm going to stop right there. Hopefully I got close to finishing that pattern. And then what I'm going to do when I get done, I'm going to go hit my up button for the presser foot. I'm going to draw our material back. Oh yeah, that's a lovely one. Look at that one. That's quite spectacular. It makes me think of fall. Does that pattern make you think of fall? Almost like a harvest sowing pattern, doesn't it? Kind of looks like it might be a pumpkin or something of that nature, a squash. Yeah, it's quite lovely, quite lovely. Go ahead and clip that, get our thread back. There's a little bit of static electricity in the air out here in the workshop, and I'm having to fight that thread just a little bit. I actually just licked my fingers, not to be gross, but I licked my fingers so I could try to get that thread to go back where I wanted it to go. So this is Kathy King's selection. Again, it's going to be block number 4, pattern 25. Block number 4, pattern 25. Let me see if I can show it to you. Yeah, very, very nice. Isn't that gorgeous? Cow country folks have the best taste, don't they? They have the best taste. They're classy folks. Yeah, very, very nice. Let's turn over, look at the lock stitching. Yeah, very, very nice. Good looking lock stitching, good looking top stitching. Absolutely spectacular. This is our lock stitching again. Wow. Wow. That's fabulous. Fabulous. Let me go ahead and pick the next one, which is going to be, I believe, Tim's stitch. Let's do Tim's stitch next. Let me see if I can get this centered. And I've got to leave enough space because these are wide patterns and the tri-motion. That way I don't sew over somebody else's stitch and get in trouble. So we're going to do Tim's stitch now, which is block 2 and stitch 5. So let's get that set up. We've got to go to a different block now, don't we? We've got to go to a different block. These are the stitches we've done so far, which are quite spectacular. Quite spectacular. All right, so now we need to go back. I'm going to hit this upper right button, And we need to go to block 2. Let me try it with the stylist here. I should actually use the stylist, shouldn't I? So that's block 2. And now it's stitch number 5. Aha! That's like a squiggly one that Tim picked. It almost looks like a snake, doesn't it? All the way across. And look at our fixed light is on again. I don't know why. Aha! Make it go out. So we're going to do Tim's stitch now, which is block 2, stitch number 5. Stitch number 5. Let's see if we can do this one for Tim. All right. I forgot to look at the bobbin to see how we're doing. We still have some thread on there. Hopefully we can get through these sew-offs. All right, here we go. Tim's stitch number 5 in block 2. All right, here we go. Ooh. Wow. All right, I'm going to stop right there. Yeah, it's almost like a 3-point zigzag, but it's got a curve to it, doesn't it? It's a curvy 3-point zigzag. No, it's not a zigzag, but that's a really cool one too, Tim. I like that one. Very, very nice. Let's take a closer look at this one. No, I'm not spitting on my fingers again, but I'm thinking about it. Static electricity. And I've shown this to all of you before. I've got a small bottle, a little spray bottle that's used for essential oils filled with water. And as the winter starts to set in, I will spray the workspace before I set a machine down. So it kind of takes that static charge out of that surface so it doesn't transfer to the machine, right? All right, let's take a look at Tim's stitch now. Should be our top stitching here. Yeah, really, really lovely. Very nice. It complements those other stitches, creates kind of a nice little border, doesn't it? Yeah, very, very nice. So when I started this live stream and I was talking about the fact that this is not actually a machine that was made in Sweden, some of you right away, as soon as you learned that it was made in China, would have been kind of, some of you are a little bit snobbish when it comes to certain core brand names like Husqvarna Viking or some of the machines that were made over in Scotland where James is. You know, if they start making those machines somewhere else, you're like, it's not the same. And you wouldn't be wrong. It's not exactly the same. It's not exactly the same. But if they have the blueprint and they follow it and they make that machine the way they're supposed to be making it based on what the manufacturer gives them, and they've got good quality assurance, quality reviews, then they can still make a quality product even though it's no longer being made in Sweden. Don't you agree? Yeah. Now, if they start to cheapen the materials, that's another thing entirely. But quite a lovely, lovely stitch job that this machine is doing, in my opinion. Quite nice. Yeah. Lock stitching. Aha! Looking good. Looks very, very nice. And that auto sensor, auto tensioner, so far is doing a good job. So far, it's doing a good job. Lock stitching and top stitching. Let's get it in position. And I'll show you that setting screen real quick. I forgot to do that. Let me show you that setting screen. And then you'll see what we have control over. There we go. Get that presser foot down, ready to go. So this is where we are right now. We're going to kind of change this. Our settings screen is right down here in the bottom right. You can see it right there. So if I hit that, you're going to see we have a couple of things we can control. We can control presser foot, the sensor for foot auto. So right now it's being set automatically. The sensor is determining what kind of material we're sewing, and it's adjusting that presser foot pressure up or down accordingly. Now, does that always work? No, it doesn't always work, but it seems to be doing a pretty good job so far. Then we have a twin needle setting, stitch width, safety, so it doesn't hit the plate. Free motion floating. What else do we have? Whoops, I hit the wrong. Audible alarm, contrast, that's a screen setting. Language, we can change the language if our language is Swedish or Portuguese or whatever it is. We probably have a setting in there where all of our screen settings will then be in that language, which is really nice. Buttonhole balance. Aha, we don't care about that. Let's see, what else? Calibrate touch screen. Is there anything else? So unfortunately, let's see here. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of control. Part of their sales pitch is exclusive sensor system. So they're using sensors to control a lot of the things that we normally would have mechanical control over, which we don't. So we'll do our best just to go with the flow and hope that they did it right, you know. All right, so we did Tim's stitch. Now we're going to do Teresa's next stitch, which is in block 4, stitch 30. Block 4, stitch 30. So let's go back to that. I'm going to hit block 4, stitch 30. I know I'm supposed to be using the stylist. I know. Aha. Oh, we're making candy. Teresa picked candy. I love it. That inspires me. Now I think we need to measure the harp space with bubble gum. After we sew the stitch, remind me, we're going to measure the harp space in bubble gum, okay? Great choice, Teresa. This will be fun. All right, let's make candy. Let's make candy. There's always time for candy. Always time for candy. All right. And yes, our fix light came on again, so I'm going to hit the fix light. Aha. And hopefully I have this offset enough because this is obviously going to have tri-motion. We'll see if we can hopefully stay on the material. All right, here we go. My mouth is actually watering right now thinking about this candy. It is. I'm going to have to pop a piece of bubble gum in my mouth. All right, let's go down to the needle. Slow it down a little bit more. All right, let's stop right there. Only one fruit fly, Susie. He's buzzing around right now. See if I can. Or not. I think I did. Aha! One less fruit fly. Oh, yeah, that's a fun one. Look at that. That's very, very nice. Let's go and give the threads a clip, and we'll take a closer look at this one. We still have thread on the bobbin. Not a lot, but we have some thread on the bobbin. So this is our bubble gum pattern. We'll just pretend like it's bubble gum. And this is the one that Teresa picked out in block 4, stitch number 30. Block 4, stitch number 30. Let's take a look at this one. And again, imagine if we had an embroidery needle in the machine right now. We're using a 9014 because we're eventually going to do a little bit of sewing on leather. This has a 0.8 amp micro motor. So it should have enough power to get through the leather. And let's look at it like that too. There's our bubble gum pattern. Very, very nice. Let's turn it over and look at the lock stitching. Exactly as we would want to see it. The lock stitching is doing an excellent job, and that auto sensor that controls that tension is demonstrating it's doing a good job so far. Lovely, lovely stitching. Don't you agree? Lovely stitching. All right, we just have one stitch left that was picked by the audience, Susie, and that's going to be in block 3, stitch 40, I believe. So I'm going to see if I can get that one set up. So we're going to go back to our little control screen over here. And we've got to go to block 3, which is right here. I'll use the stylus. I'll be a good boy. Block 3 is right there. And then we need stitch 40, 40. Oh, that's really a complex one. Looks almost like the 4th of July, doesn't it? All the stars. Look at those stars. Wow. Let's see if we can do this one. Yes, my fixed light is on again. Aha! There we go. Now it's off. All right, let's try to do this star pattern for Susie and see what we think of this one. And that'll be our last audience pick. Unless you guys say, come on, Scott, show us the stitches one more time. Show us the stitches one more time. Just one more time. Please. Show us the stitches. Yeah, I might show you the stitches one more time. One more time. That's it. And wait till your father gets home. Wait till your father gets home. Ha ha. All right, let's try this star pattern that Susie picked. All right, here we go. I should probably get down to the needle on this one. Let me see if I can do that. Let's see, right about there maybe. I'm going to really take this one slow. It doesn't sound, I'm just going to stop real quick. It doesn't sound clunky at all. It's, again, it's that Swedish design engineering that was carried out in China. But if they followed the blueprint, they built a really good machine. It sounds really good. It didn't sound like this before. Workshop magic. All right, we're going to stop right there. Bring my presser foot up. Oh, yeah, that's quite cool. That's really cool. And that uses a lot of thread, obviously, to generate that pattern. We probably have more thread usage on this pattern that Susie picked than any of these others because they're more elongated with that tri-motion. This is an overlay, 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 overlay to give more depth and substance to those stars. So it eats up a lot of thread, which is fine. That's the pattern we want, right? But yeah, let's just look at it a little bit closer. Let me give these threads a clip and we'll see what we think of this pattern. Oops. There we go. Okay, this is Susie's pattern. Again, this is block 3, block number 3, stitch number 40. Block 3, stitch number 40. Let's take a look at these. Yeah, I think it's really quite good. Really quite good. Really quite lovely. But imagine that with an embroidery needle, a 7511 embroidery needle by Schmetz. Leaping lizards. Boy, would it lay down clarity of stitch with a 7511, wouldn't it? Very, very nice. Let's turn it over. See how we did? Yeah, there we go. And as some of you said earlier, workshop magic, right? It's doing a beautiful job. Doing a beautiful job now. That's our lock stitching. Lock stitching. And I can see right here just a little bit of puckering. Can you see that on the screen? A little bit of puckering, which means right now, I believe that presser foot pressure is set to be auto and it's set at 5.0. 5.0. I showed that to you on the settings screen. But right now, I think the presser foot pressure for our application is a little bit high. So we may, you know, if we wanted to, we could manually override it and bump it down to say 4.0. Because right now we're getting a little bit of puckering along the bottom of that stitch line. Just a little bit. But some spectacular stitching by this model 690Q. And some of you might be wondering, and no, you're not wondering. You're so smart. You're so doggone smart. You've already done it. You probably already Googled eBay or Etsy or Pinterest to find out how much does a machine like this go for, right? Because you're saying, I think I'm going to add another machine to my collection. I think I'm going to add another machine to my collection. Well, you found out that they sell for probably around, well, somebody type in the live chat. I know what I found, but type in the live chat what you found, what these machines were selling for new. And there are used ones out there as well, but you don't know what you're getting, right? you don't know what you're getting when you buy a used machine like this that has so many adjustments and calibrations on it that have to be made. And whether or not it's been cleaned properly, whether or not it's been serviced properly, you just don't know what you're getting. But you could always send it to the workshop, right? You could always send it to the workshop. All right, let me get this set up for our next one. Oh, wait, no. We got to measure the harp base. I almost forgot. Hold on. All right. Oh, this bubblegum smells so good. Susie got me a huge container with 350 pieces, 380 pieces, 380 pieces. And yeah, it doesn't have 380 anymore. It no longer has 380. All right, so let's measure the harp with double bubble. Start right about there. And there. This is a very exact science. So yeah, we're gonna get it right. We're gonna get it right, maybe. All right, how many are we gonna have? How many licks to get to the center of a lollipop or something like that? You guys remember that owl that was on that commercial? Is that Charm Lollipop or something? I don't remember who made those lollipops. I'm going to sneak one more in there. Okay, so if someone would write this down and then add it to the live chat after we get done measuring the entire harp space. So from needle to the pillar, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 double bubble pieces. That is a lot of workspace. That's a big space to turn material. So 11 double bubble from the needle to the pillar. Now we need to measure. Well, it's kind of silly because did anyone look this up? There is a bed that goes on this, isn't there? There's got to be a bed because right now it's set up as a free arm. It's set up as there's got to be a bed. So how do we measure? I think we'll cheat a little bit here. I think we'll cheat. We're going to measure the bed from here to here with double bubble. Okay. Then we know we're pretty accurate for the total workspace. And I can hear the new folks right now saying, did you see that guy? He measured the harp space, which some people these days are calling throat space. No. He measured the harp space with double bubble gum. You got to check him out. He's a hoot. He's a hoot. All right, let's see how far we are from front to back. This room smells so good. The workshop is smelling like double bubble right now. Okay, so the width in double bubble, y'all can count those. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 double bubble wide. So 11 this way, 11 this way, and 10 this way. That is a lot of workspace. That is a lot of workspace. All right. Finally, I'm going to clear these out of the way. Finally, we have to measure the height from the bed to the arm, right? From the bed to the arm. And I've got one pre-set up to try to help me with that. Here it is right here, attached with electrical tape. So we're going to see if we can get the, from the bed to the arm is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 double bubble. So 11, 10, and then 7 here for height. That's a good workspace. It truly is. It truly does meet the criteria of being a very, very good quilting machine. I don't know how it compares to the Sashiko. I don't know how it compares to the Sashiko that Susie has by Baby Lock. But yeah, this is designed well. Husqvarna Viking did a good job in designing it. Yeah, they did a good job. Okay, I promised you leather. I promised you leather. This is going to be about 3 to 4 ounces of leather. You see it like that. So I'm going to pick a stitch and see if we can do a nice stitch on this leather. It's going to be a one-off. And see if that auto sensing system is like, oh my gosh, red alert, red alert, red alert. The guy just put leather underneath the presser foot. Yeah, we did. We're going to try it, see how we do. So Teresa's saying it's just shy of $2,000, just shy of $2,000 for one of these machines. And I'm sure they sell for a lot less used if you buy a used one. But again, you don't know what you're getting then. You don't know what you're getting. So, all right, let's see. I gotta drink something. My voice is, I'm sounding like a boy in adolescence here. My voice is changing. Hold on. All right. We'll just do a couple more sew-offs and then we'll wrap up this live stream. Looks like we've been running about an hour and 55 minutes. Yeah. Thank you, Susie, for capturing that. People need to know if you're going to spend $2,000 or even buy a used one for like $700, $800 or something like that, you need to know what the double bubble measurements are. I mean, would you buy not knowing the double bubble measurements? I don't think so. It's that important. It is. Okay, so I'm going to try. I'll tell you what. I'm going to show you the stitches one last time, and then Teresa and Tim, if you would put your heads together, and after I go down the stitches one more time, you can pick the stitch. And don't pick don't pick something crazy intricate. Well, pick anything you want. I don't care. Pick anything you want, and we'll lay it down on this genuine cowhide leather. Okay? We'll lay it down on this cowhide leather. So I'm going to show the stitches one more time. And that'll be your opportunity as well. If you want to, just at the last minute as we're wrapping up this live stream, he's like, no, I didn't get a turn. Not fair. This is your last chance to pick a stitch of your choice that I'll lay down on either denim, vintage velvet. You can specify it. Denim, vintage velvet, or cotton. I'm only going to do one sew off for Teresa and Tim on leather, and they get to pick it. It's up to them. So get ready. Here's the stitches again. And this is going to be for our one-off leather sew-off. One-off leather sew-off, okay? All right, let's see if I can get it in there nice and close. There we go. All right, I'm going to try to go down as slow as I can. All right, I'm going to go back one last time. Last time. Again, I need the block number and the stitch number. The block number and the stitch number. All right, that's it. If you missed it, you missed it. I'm so sorry, but that's it. So I'm going to see what Teresa and Tim come up with as far as the block and the stitch number, and then we'll try to lay it down on this probably about 3 to 4 ounce genuine cowhide, and we'll see how this machine does with a one-off of heavy-duty sewing, okay? A one-off. Okay, Miss Teresa picked block 2, stitch 22. Block 2, stitch 22. Block 2, stitch 22. All right, let's see if we can set it up. So we're already, well, nope, block 2. So block 2, stitch 22. Ooh, good choice. Great choice. I love that one. Let's see how we do on leather. Let's see how we do on leather. Okay. All right. Before I start this sew off, I'll just go to the live chat again real quick and just say hello if I missed anybody before. Oh, it looks like Lenore from Florida. Great to have Lenore from Florida with us. It's going to go all the way to the top. I don't think I missed anybody. I don't think so. Scrolling, 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 scrolling. Almost to the bottom. Yep, I think I've already greeted everyone else, and I just said hello to Lenore from Florida. And Lenore, you might remember, sent us a, what did Lenore send us? I've been running fast and furious here. Was that the 201-2, I believe? Hold on a second. Let's see. Yep. Yeah, Lenore sent us a Rolls Royce of Singer sewing machines. The 201-2. All right, so I'm going to try this leather sew off. We're only going to do a one-off. And we'll see how it does with this pattern that Teresa and Tim picked, which is in block, what is it? Block number 2. Yeah, block number 2, stitch 22. 222. 222. Yep. All right, let's give this a go. All right, and listen to this machine work. Let's see if it sounds different when we put it under a little bit more pressure going through leather versus the cotton that we've sewn predominantly. Okay. All right, here we go. Going to see if there's anything else I need to set. Looks like we're okay. No hesitation. It launched right in. It didn't hesitate. So that micro motor that's supercharged is doing a good job of driving that. Let me take you down to the material. I better steer it a little bit. The feed dogs are, with that auto pressure, having a little bit more trouble keeping this straight. The other stuff fed real straight and true. This leather started to go off course when I took my finger off of it. And again, I wouldn't recommend a lot of leather sewing on this machine. Just a one-off, I think, is fine, but don't overdo it. All right, I'm going to stop right there. And we'll see how it did. It did a fabulous job with all the stitches on cotton. See how it does with leather. Yeah, that's really kind of cool. It struggled a little bit with the tension on the back. We'll take a close look at that. Again, this has an auto tension based on a sensor control. Part of that Husqvarna Viking exclusive sensor system. And when you start to go through leather, that sensor might go a little bit bughouse. But we'll see how it did. It may have done pretty good. All right, so we'll look at our top stitching first. And this again is stitch 22 in block 2. This is that pattern that Teresa and Tim picked. Yeah, the stitching is clean, and it's got good spacing, good formation as far as the stitch. And again, it's not a thin sew off. Look at that leather from the side, right around 3 or 4 ounces of leather. Look at it like this as well. Yeah, very, very nice. That's thick stuff, folks. And this is a quilting machine, but it's got that micro boosted motor on it, 0.8 amps. And it didn't hesitate at all when it hit that leather. It just went right through. Now here's our lock stitching. This is where we might notice that sensor that adjusts tension automatically, we can't control it. It may struggle just a little bit, especially not using a leather needle. It may struggle just a little bit where it's not quite as tight as we would want to see it. All in all, it did a pretty good job on the lock stitching. We don't see any big looping. And I know that the customer is not going to be sewing leather with this. She's going to be using it for quilting. So on this one-off, it did a decent job of going through some pretty thick leather and doing a good job. So I'm going to set this to the side. We're not on a bobbin thread yet. So I may put denim underneath the presser foot now, just so we can say we sewed denim too. And these are I'll show you some of the stitching I did off camera real quick. When I got done with all the adjustments on the machine and everything, I did these stitches here off camera. So it gives you an idea. And yes, I picked, being a bubblegum fanatic, yes, I picked the same stitch as Teresa right up here. And that was a couple days ago when I finished the machine. This stitch I'm kind of jazzed about, just below the candy. That's a super cool stitch, isn't it? So there's a lot of reasons to love this machine and to want to own one, isn't there? There's a lot of reasons to love this machine and to want to own one. It's quite spectacular. So now we're going to do, let's see, we're done with leather. We did a one-off on leather. Now we're going to do 4 layers of denim. 4 layers of denim, and I'll pick another pattern to buzz down that. And that way we've at least touched a little bit on the heavy duty side of what this machine can do. And I think I'll use Paula Noel's clips to hold this together a little bit since it's so long. As a matter of fact, I'll tell you what, is this going to be my last sew off? This might be my last sew off. That way, if I run out of bobbin thread, it's okay. Yeah. You know what? This is going to be too long even to show you. It'll be too hard. Let me just cut it down just a tiny little bit. I'm going to find my scissors. I'll just cut it. I'll cut it in half. Yeah, I'll cut it in half. That way I don't go crazy with it. Let's go like this. And on behalf of Guggenheim, Professional Tailoring Shears, Stephen sent me a note and asked if I would let all of you know that there's a special sale going on this weekend. There's a special sale going on this weekend with Guggenheim Shears. I believe they're discontinuing a set, and then they're going to come out with a brand new version of it around Christmas. But if you love Guggenheim, if you're curious about them, if you've never tried them, they really are quite a fabulous scissors or shears to use in any sewing. You'll want to check that sale out this weekend. Stephen would appreciate you showing that support and interest. He's given a lot to this channel in professional tailoring shears that I've been able to give away. And so if you could show support to him, yeah, check out the sale. Go to their website, Guggenheim.com, I think it is, or something like that. And if someone wants to look up their website and throw it into the live chat, and then check out what deals they're offering this weekend. But I know they're discontinuing a pair, and then they're going to redesign it, re-engineer it, and then roll it out right around Christmas time. Okay? All right, so let me do this. If Lenore from Florida is still in the live chat, I'm going to show the stitches one last time. I said I wouldn't do it, but I'm going to do it. And if Lenore wants to pick out a stitch that I can do on these 4 layers of denim, I'll go ahead and do that. Now, if Lenore stepped away, my backup person is going to be Kathy King. So if Lenore stepped away, Lenore gets first swing at picking a stitch to go down on 4 layers of denim. If Lenore stepped away for whatever reason, Kathy King can pick one, and she'll be my backup. She'll be my alternate if Lenore doesn't post something, okay? So I'm going to show the stitches again one last time. I'm only going to go down one direction. I'll need the block number, the block number, and the stitch number, which is in the black band in the middle, okay? So last chance, last chance. There you go. So block 1, 2, 3, or 4, and then the stitch number is in the black band horizontally running down the middle of all that, okay? I'll try to go as slow as I can. And again, this is going to be a sew off, our final sew off going through 4 layers of denim. All right, that's it. That's it. So we'll see if Lenore responds. If Lenore responds, if Lenore doesn't respond in just a few seconds with the block and the stitch number, then if Kathy King, my alternate, would go ahead and do that. If Kathy King doesn't respond, then I'll go ahead and pick one. Okay? Four layers of heavy grade denim. 4 layers of heavy grade denim. When I ring the bell, that'll be Lenore's time up. So if Lenore wants to give a block number and a stitch number, I'll go ahead and do hers. Otherwise, when I ring the bell, Kathy King can go ahead and post hers in the live chat. If Kathy King doesn't post anything, then I'll go ahead and choose something. Unless Susie has one that she wants to do that she already has written down, I'll do Susie's. So I don't see anything yet from Lenore. All right, I'm going to ring the bell. So now it's up to Kathy King. And if not Kathy King, okay. All right, so Kathy King can make the choice. Otherwise, if Susie has a stitch that she eyeballed, I'll go with Susie's choice. Perfect. Okay, so Kathy picked block 4, stitch 4. Block 4, stitch 4, and that'll be through 4 layers of heavy grade denim. All right, block 4 and stitch 4. Oh, that's a cool one. That's a real cool one, Kathy. I love that. Very, very nice. So let's try this one in block 4, stitch 4. I'm going to hit my fix button for whatever reason. And we'll try laying it down on these 4 layers of heavy grade denim. All right, and this will, for all practical purposes, be our final sew off in this live stream. I want to thank everybody for attending. Whether you join the live chat or not, we love you. We appreciate you. We're so grateful that you're here. I know how busy a week can be, whether you're working or retired, it doesn't matter. Weeks are very, very busy. And I want to say thank you for taking time to join us today. We've had a beautifully large audience, and we've had a lot of great participation. And also our friend joined us from Scotland as well, which is super cool. So join us at a future live stream. I don't know when we'll do one exactly because we got a number of other things going on right now, Susie and I do. But just keep watch. And thank you to the leadership team for taking such good care of everybody. And we'll do this final sew off. I'll show it, show all the stuff, and then we'll wrap up with some fun music, okay? God bless you all. And stay safe, okay? Stay safe. All right, final sew off. Here we go. I think we'll have enough bobbin thread to finish this. I think so. All right, I'm going to stop right there. Excuse me. Stop right there. And I'll give you a quick glimpse of this. What a lovely, lovely stitch. And again, we just did this through 4 layers. We just did this through 4 layers of heavy grade denim. And this 690Q made by designed and engineered by Husqvarna Viking. Another gorgeous pattern that Kathy just picked. A pattern in block 4, stitch number 4. Really quite spectacular. Let me give it a clip and we'll take a closer look at it. And again, this was 4 layers of denim. We did leather, we did cotton. This Viking had no issues. That micro motor in it is a strong motor, and it delivered some real positive performance for all of the stitching that we did, from cotton to leather and now 4 layers of denim. Quite a lovely, lovely pattern. See if I get nice and close. Yeah, it's super cool. I think that's out of focus, isn't it? Hold on a second. Let's see if I can do it like this. There we go. And look at all the overlay that it had to do right there on these arches right there, the upper arch. A lot of thread overlay work there. And it did a fabulous job of laying down some really good stitching. We could get a better result with an embroidery needle. But for a 9014 Schmetz needle that is pretty tired right now, it's done a lot of work, including leather. It laid down some beautiful, beautiful stitching, truly. Very, very nice. Lock stitching. I like the lock stitching even better on this one. That's our lock stitching right there. Check that out. So that sensor that controls auto tension did a real good job on this denim. It didn't do as well on the leather, but all in all, it did quite well. This is our lock stitching again. And again, look at the thickness of what we sewed through. That's not a light sew off, folks, for a quilting machine. I know that with quilt batting and everything else, you can have a pretty thick quilt, but heavy grade denim, 4 layers, a stitch of this complexity, this machine is doing an excellent job. I hope you agree. An excellent, excellent job. So God bless you all. Thank you again for joining us today. Thanks to the leadership team. I'm going to go ahead and find some music, and then I will wrap this up. Whenever you need to step away, by all means, step away and get back into your busy week. I know it's a busy week probably for you, and I'm grateful that you could join us today. So God bless, and let's see what I can put on here. I'm going to put on Irish music. Irish music has kind of a feeling and a flavor of Scottish music. No offense, because I know Scottish is Scottish and Irish is Irish, but I love Irish music. I have no Scottish music. So enjoy this. God bless. See you again soon. And I want to say real quick for the record, that this 690Q, made in China, designed and engineered by Husqvarna Viking, made every single sew off we did today. That was easy. Made it look really, really easy. Take care, everybody. See you again soon.